Just before 10 p.m. on April 20th, 2010, at the BP-operated Macondo Prospect in the Mississippi Canyon of the Gulf of Mexico, the largest marine oil spill in history began. The Deepwater Horizon oil rig suffered a catastrophic explosion, taking the lives of 11 people and injuring 17 others. The Deepwater Horizon sank beneath the waves 2 days later, on April 22nd, 2010. The oil, however, continued to hemorrhage into the fragile ecosystem. On September 19th of the same year, all efforts to contain the flow were declared failures, and the well was sealed. Concerns about the effects of the massive ecological disaster would have on the natural environment surfaced before the fires were even out.
We want to stop the leak, we want to contain and clean up the oil, and we want to help the people of this region return to their lives and their livelihoods as soon as possible.
The local wildlife almost immediately began to show damage. Lesions and sores found on fish jumped nearly 20%. Many of these are food for larger animals in the food chain. According to the Audubon Society, over 1 million birds died from the incident. Sadly, one of the most intelligent animals on the face of the earth was also gravely affected. The troubles didn't stop there. Research in 2013, led by NOAA and funded by BP, has found a greater number of cases of lung disease and hormonal abnormalities, among a myriad of other health issues. NOAA scientist Lori Schwake stated, "I've never seen such a high prevalence of very sick animals, and with unusual conditions such as the adrenal hormone abnormalities." This assessment looks specifically at a portion of the dolphin population from Barataria Bay in Louisiana, an area that was heavily contaminated during the oil spill. The health of roughly 30 dolphins was checked, including an ultrasound of the lungs. Almost half were considered to be in guarded condition, while 17% were given a grim prognosis, many unlikely to survive. The study showed this lung disease was associated with oil contamination. 25% of the dolphins examined were deemed underweight and were affected by low adrenal hormones that make it hard for the animal to deal with stress.
The damage to their adrenal glands was permanent. So until we see a whole new generation of dolphins grow up to be a reproductive age, we're not going to see an increase in the number of healthy pregnancies. We also have seen immune system changes over time that have been persistent. All of these things combined make it so you have sick moms that end up not being able to produce a healthy, viable calf. Another thought is that the oil, like I said, it didn't just go up onto the coastline and nowhere else. Like, even when you put dispersants, it still all settles down to the bottom and can stay in the sediment for a really long time. And we know that these dolphins feed out of the sediment. They'll do a behavior where they'll dig their snout down into the water to dig for fish and other little things that live down in the sand. And that way they could be getting re-exposed over and over.
During the oil spill response, the effects on the cetaceans, or whales and dolphins, population were apparent almost immediately, despite BP's denials. 150 of the animals were found dead, with only 14 being found stranded and alive. More than 90% of the cetacean casualties were bottlenose dolphins. NOAA's spill response efforts officially ended in May of 2011. They now coordinate with the Institute of Marine Mammal Studies. Though several attempts were made, IMMS failed to respond to requests for interviews for this documentary. Today, the Consortium for Advanced Research on Marine Mammal Health Assessment, consisting of more than 50 specialists from academia, nonprofit organizations, animal care providers, and NOAA, continue to monitor the situation.
And I think just the presence and the monitoring helps bring attention and awareness to the situation. There was a really big effort to clean up the oil because people's livelihoods and businesses depended upon it so much, but the long-term environmental effects are harder to deal with.